Science is the answer. And I truly believe that through science we can answer any number of things around the world that individuals and that communities experience. If we can get science working hard enough, I think it can figure it out.
The most important part of science is asking the right question. And so a scientist looks for an important question where there's a lot at stake for humans, but that also strikes a passion for them.
The long vision of Southwestern Medical Foundation has been to combine research with clinical care and education. The search for answers took an interesting turn in the early 1990s.
The Gulf War syndrome, Dr. Bob Haley. Ross Perot brought to me the problem that our Gulf War veterans were having.
About a quarter of the troops, over 200,000 of them, developed an illness. And when they began coming home, it became a really incapacitating illness for many of them.
They had symptoms that sort of related to Lou Gehrig's disease, and there was no reason for it.
We then tried to get a grant from the government, and they turned us down because they didn't want us meddling.
So Dr. Bob Haley started doing research, which was funded by Ross Perot in the beginning. I did get money through earmarks to help fund the research, to go along with what Ross Perot had already put in.
And so she was very powerful and was able to get a funding stream for us so that we could then bring in some national experts, develop a real research environment here to study this problem specifically. We developed a new set of brain imaging tests, and we then collected the world's greatest data set on an emerging new illness, analyzed it, and now published papers that definitively show this is a problem involving effects on the brain of low-level chemical nerve agent that so far has been permanent. And so now we're working on some new ideas to see if we can find a way of ameliorating the symptoms.
In 1989, investigators did a door-to-door AIDS survey in Dallas, the first in a major city. In 2000, researchers did another citywide survey, the Dallas Heart Study, a broad, multi-ethnic investigation of the risk factors for heart disease.
Every person came in and we did extensive, what we would call phenotyping, that is characterization of the person. The biggest story that we've told in the Dallas Heart Study is a protein that's called PCSK9. 2% of African Americans have the sequence variation, and that's associated with a 40% reduction in LDL cholesterol levels. And then we went on to show that that reduction basically protects you from heart disease almost completely.
Not all progress is in laboratories, but at the bedside.
Dr. Wildenthal explained to me in very simple terms that medical schools do three things. Number one is they teach students, and number two, they do research. And he said that those two legs of their three-legged stool were extraordinary. But they felt as though their clinical activities, which is the third leg of the stool, in 1980s was not up to the same standards as the other two legs.
So the Zale and Lipsche families were enlisted to help build Southwestern's first referral hospital. Now, with the Foundation's support, the new Clements Hospital has opened where compassionate care, research, and education come together.
There is an increased emphasis on developing new technology, centering the care around the patient. And I think the Clements Hospital is a typical example where the design of the hospital, the way that the teams function, are all, as they say, patient-centric. The Foundation also has an opportunity here to help grow those programs through its enduring history of raising awareness in the community, attracting individuals and corporations and organizations who have an interest in building it, and making UT Southwestern basically an international destination for sort of the best quality health care.
My mom had this horrible disease that lasted for a really long time, and we used to joke that she had a doctor for every single part of her body except for maybe her hair and her fingernails, and she was treated, head to toe at UT Southwestern. And she had incredible care. I mean, the doctors, the nurses, the facility, it prolonged her life. We thought that the care that she received was phenomenal.
If there's any lesson we've learned over the last 50 years, it's that there is no question that science cannot answer if given the funding and the talent and the equipment and so forth that's needed. Scientific research is extremely powerful, and it can answer any question.